Say hello and tell us a little bit about yourself, Soso.
Hello, everybody. I've been playing. I guess I'm kind of a FFA veteran now, like a lot of the guys here. Um, been playing FFA for a long time and competed also and with some of the best FFA players. Um, yeah, and I actually came from a solo background, played a bit there, and I didn't know anything about the FFA community at the time. But then I met some of the cool guys here, including Mage, and competed some in FFA Masters League and won one season there, and also won in another tournament event. Back then, FFA didn't have all the exposure that it has now, so now it's actually become really interesting to see the current development thanks to Pat's ladder and everything. But some of you, those of you guys who don't know me, I'm a solo. I'm a human player. I also played some random race plays back in the. For now, I'm sticking to human as I don't really have time to play that much. Um,
And
so
Soso is being modest. He is certainly one of the better players that we've seen in FFA history. He had great success in a lot of FML seasons. I believe you originally win the FML B League as well, which is kind of how you got your introduction to FFA.
no, I actually there was some competitive matches there. I believe No X also played in the farm league, if that's what you're
Yes,
referring
that's
to.
yep. Well, in my
Yeah.
mind, you won, so you can just take credit for it.
Yeah, I got rushed by Doveki at the time, and I wasn't really prepared for an aggressive elf player. We have some of those now. We have players like Trunks who streams like FFA all the time and plays the same kind of strat. But Doveki is also an old, veteran player who doesn't really compete so much in the tournaments, but is very known on the ladder. But I think he's inactive now.
So this is probably a map that is going to be unfamiliar to a lot of people watching the game. Do you have any insights as to what makes this map special, what we should be looking for? I mean, we can see up here, RulaZ is going for a quick expo on one of the middle mines. We can see that there are a limited amount of those, so obviously they're going to be important. But can you give us a quick overview on what to expect here?
I haven't played this map actually before. I don't remember it, but it makes sense from a strategical point of view that he takes the mid mine in the start because that's I would say that's the hardest to defend. So it's good to get some gold from that as opposed to the natural, which you can always gather gold from later on. So but it's kind of risky play, but since we know in competitive FFA matches, people usually don't rush before like 10 minutes or so, just because it doesn't make sense to do so. It usually pays off.
And so let's
And Mage,
go.
did you play some on the FFA or Pad ladder?
I have played about 6 games, yeah. Maybe 7 games.
Oh.
I got a free win in one of them because Ina and Trunks fought each other the entire time and left me to hoard about 20,000 gold, and even I didn't blow that. And then I had one I'd consider a legitimate win where it came down to a base race, and I felt pretty proud of myself on that, but I've also died to Trunks like 4 times in a row.
Yeah, he's very hard to play against because his kind of armor composition just kills your heroes so fast, and he's very good at microing since he's been playing it like 1,000 times.
Yep, and I made the mistake 3 out of the 4 times I've lost to him, I think, of thinking I could win my 1v1 fight quicker than, I didn't know it was Trunks at the time, but quicker than he was going to be able to, and I assumed then I could get the other person to team out whoever was in the other fight, and turns out I am not quicker at winning 1v1s than Trunks is. In fact, he is significantly quicker than I am, so it has not worked out well for me so far. But let's go around and kind of
Yeah.
talk about some of the players in this match, starting at the 1 o'clock position with Junkerz. We can see him putting up an expo. Junkerz, I believe, kind of came into FFA around the same time you did, within a couple of years at least. Can you give us any
Yeah,
insights
that's
as
my
to his
yeah.
playstyle?
Junkerz is a random player. he can play all the races pretty well, and he's also won a FML season, so he's one of the top FFA players, I would say. He's also kind of sometimes he plays very very well, and sometimes he's not so consistent, but usually when he competes in tournaments, he's pretty consistent, and he can play a lot of strats like this. You see TC headhunters. I think his best races are probably at least undead. I don't know if there are other races that he's very good with, to my knowledge, but I don't think he has played that much comparatively to some other players in the FFA, and I think right now, since there is pad ladder and there's a lot of opportunity to practice the maps, it's a significant advantage if you can do so. And just to say something about the red here, RulaZ, I don't know so much about him. I think he played in the last FML season, but he's been doing really well on pad ladder. I think he was ranked 1 at some point with stats like 6-1 or so. I have the same stats, but due to the system, I wasn't ranked as high. But he looks very good, and I also like his creep order for the start and Alchemist. So I think he's been preparing on this map and also has some experience maybe from the pad ladder.
Yeah, I love the early expansion from him there. I mean, we can see that he's already gotten 1,500 gold out of it, and I presume that he's not going to be allowed to mine the entire thing in peace for the entire time, but he's getting a leg up here, and I presume we'll see him put up that second expo before too long. Then let's go down to the 5 o'clock position. Looks like we've got some mostly creeping, a couple skirmishes going on here. DV does lose a couple of ghouls. For those that don't know him, Emerald Trout really goes by the name of DV. Typically, he's a solo player and a free-for-all player as well. But let's talk a little bit about Teal. Sheep can fly. I know that Target used to play with the name Sheep in it. I don't think that is him. Anything that you know about him? Is he a player I'm not aware of?
No, he's actually new to me. I never seen him play before. Maybe he has another alias.
Yeah,
but,
that certainly seems
really
like it's
sure
probably likely. I'm going to pull up
he
the...
already did skirmishes with red and pink, so he seems to be pretty aggressive.
Yep, and interesting choice going for the Tauren Chieftain first. Not something we see a whole lot of. Let's see, I think I've got the bracket somewhere around here that I'll pull up in a moment, see if we can't get a little bit more clarity as to who is who. But in the meantime, we'll pull over to Ina, Pink, who is trying to take it out on Sheep Can Fly and hitting his expansion. Ina's a primarily solo player and switched over to free-for-all like you. He's had some success in it, but that probably explains some of the early aggression that we've seen.
Yeah, he's also a very aggressive player, and he adopted a FFA kind of playstyle as well. He's experimenting, I would say, with the playstyle. Sometimes he cries a lot from Manip, and other times he goes pretty hard on the aggressive. But he has to TP out, and also we see that the blue and yellow are taking out on each other, and looks really bad for Littletake already. His expansion is not mining, and
yep, and up top we can see that
put up a fortified position there.
Junkerz and Littletake are having a skirmish up top as well. Junkerz was the aggressor, taking out some of the peasants at Littletake's mine. I think the fact that there really aren't very many creeps on this map is certainly encouraging more aggressive play. We can see there are some creep camps left, but not uncommon to see FFA players, especially in a 6-way, try to essentially use one of the players as a creep camp and get a couple early expansions as well. Interesting strategy here by Junkerz, bringing in the towers. Probably will pay off for him. I mean, that's a big advantage in a fight.
Yeah, but he also takes a cost from it because his levels are so low. While red is actually going on teal as well. That's the kind of thing about the 6-way plays, is that sometimes you would just have a player that would be hit by 2 players at once, and since Sheep Can Fly is not communicating, RulaZ has no idea, I think, about Ina also attacking teal.
Yep,
so
RulaZ is going to lose that Alchemist if he's not careful, though. Yes, he does. Alchemist goes down, so that's going to hurt him.
Yeah, he got a bit confident maybe. But he's going to get the Town Chieftain probably.
Yeah, Torn Chieftain does have a
Does
TP,
have
and
a
it is going to
TP
move
though.
back there. Enough for going to be able to get off a heal with that Shadow Hunter. However, even if Sheep Can Fly does escape from this battle, the fact that Ina has completely separated him from his expansion, and in fact here Ina is moving in. I don't know if he's going to try and hit RulaZ from behind, and in fact it looks like he will just get some extra experience out of this. No TP on that Mountain King, so he has to go ahead and back off, and currently, should be noted, the only player to not be touched so far is Purple.
Yeah, it's DV, and DV is a very experienced player. I think Sexy also talked a bit about him on Back to Warcraft stream. I would say he's around the same skill level as me and has been like for a long time, I think. And I respect him a lot as an underplayer. I think he was up there with the top unders with Sexy, and now I think Quest is doing really well. He's playing a lot on ladder too. But it's interesting to see. Also, Side, I would also mention Side now. He's an up and coming. Well, everybody knows Side. He's really good in FFA and really good in solo too. So,
yep, absolutely.
But he's still learning things in FFA.
And so I actually just pulled up the bracket, and it looks like Sheep actually is Target. So I didn't know Target was back.
Okay, so you're right. Yeah. Credit to you. I didn't do my research on Target. I think Target played in the earlier FML season, right?
Yeah, Target was a big name. He won a couple of FML titles early on. He was an innovative player at the time. Looks like he may be going for some of that as well, but that does kind of explain some of the odd hero choices. And if I'm remembering correctly, I believe he was pretty well known for only using 2 heroes. Don't quote me on that, but I believe that's the case.
Okay, because I think now everybody plays 3 heroes in FFA. It's kind of mandatory. At least in the later stages of the game, it seems.
Yeah, and interesting here that we see RulaZ and Ina getting into a fight. Obviously, RulaZ taking exception to being essentially creep-jacked in the back while he was attacking Target. And Ina with 47 supply right now. RulaZ is up to 61, so if Ina's able to take all these fights, continue doing well the way he is while staying below 50, that's going to be pretty big for him. We can see both Target and Ina are trying to get their expansions up. I'm not sure, due to Nightfall, if they actually have vision of each other, so that may be interesting problem to come across. But glancing back up here around noon, we see that Junkerz has successfully put up his expansion here against Little Tick, and Little Tick is going to lose that Paladin, it looks like. Yes, he will, and Junkerz low headhunters here, but pretty successfully taking this fight, except for losing that Torn Chieftain. Now that opens up the Shadow Hunter to some vulnerability as well. Blizzard doing a lot of damage here on both the Peons, the Shadow Hunter, and some of the Headhunters as well. So Little Tick unable to take back his expansion, but does do a lot of damage there, and pretty successful push into the expansion.
Yeah, I think it was really costly, and maybe I'm not sure I like the decision by Junker to go for an early aggression with the TC Headhunter build. He's just not that strong against human, but maybe he felt he was forced to do it. I don't know. But he does have the expansion mining, though, so maybe he can weather Little Tick down soon. But Purple is going in for the kill on Junker as well.
Yep, and
just trying to farm some experience, it seems.
Yeah, DV is staying at 50. He's got pretty good hero levels from creeping. I mean, 332, we do see that early Tinker there. A little bit of what would be considered an unusual meta early on, but the Tinker is incredibly strong in free-for-all, and I think will be especially strong in a 6-way free-for-all. So we never finished talking about the players a little bit, given that we're watching Little Tick fight Junkerz right now. What do you know about Little Tick and any of his strengths besides the fact that he plays human?
Oh, yeah, Little Tick, I don't know if you've seen him play, but he came to the scene a bit, I think when you kind of, retired a bit. Maybe I could put it that way, but he's a very smart player. Usually he's good at manipulating and also all the gold management and all this kind of stuff. So he's kind of tricky, and if you're not on top of what's going on with him, he usually uses that to his advantage. He plays some interesting builds also. He likes to go for rifles early on, and and get the macro going. I would say he's a macro-oriented player.
A town is under siege.
So yeah.
And then back down to the bottom of the map, we can see that Ina is doing a nice job here of taking down target. Beautiful stomp from that Tauren Chieftain early on in the middle of the entire army that helped him kill off target's Tauren Chieftain as well. And we do see it looks like target is maintaining that 2 heroes only. Level 2 on the Shadow Hunter, definitely in danger, does take down that Kodo at the very edge. Ina has gone up to 80 food army, did lose the Kodo on the way out, but looks like he is in pretty good position right now. Target is also food capped at 50 while he's only fighting at 36, so I think it's safe to say he's doing a nice job of doing what he can to defend himself right now. It certainly doesn't look like it's going to be successful ultimately, and it seems like it's just a matter of time before Ina is able to take him out.
Yeah, I think Teal is might be the first to go out if somebody doesn't save him. Yeah.
Yep. Understandable. I think that nobody's willing to save another player in a 6-way. I mean, it's just too early on. But this opens up a big possibility for Ina. He's going to be able to put up another expansion to take out the remainder of this gold mine, and he's going to get a lot of experience here from the leftover army that Target had. So early on, it looks like Ina's off to a pretty strong position with his 4-3-2 heroes. He's got 3 expansions up and going. Definitely like the position that he's in. Let's go back up to the top and see this Junkerz versus Liltek fight. Looks like they're going to continue going at each other. MK getting very low, does have a potion of vulnerability, pops that off, and we see Junkerz at 62. Liltek is maintaining himself at 50. Really no gold for him, though. What do you think about these army compositions? I mean, the Headhunters and Wyvern versus Spellbreakers and Casters. It seems like, just from an army breakdown perspective, you kind of like where Littletek's at, as long as you can figure out a way to take some of these Wyvern out.
Yeah, I guess it's from the fact that he doesn't have a counter to the Breakers, so he has to come up with something to kill the Breakers. But the Wyverns aren't that great in this scenario, I think, but he does manage to kill some of Littletek's units, but he also takes some losses in the process. So, but at the bottom we see that RulaZ and Ina are fighting each other too, and kind of looks even, I would say.
Yeah, 64 versus 66 seems like a pretty good fight so far. RulaZ, despite his manipulation earlier on, in pretty good position here. Does force the TP away for Ina, and RulaZ probably going to go ahead and take out this expansion, try and get an extra expansion of his own. DV kind of wandering around the map, looking a little aimless, and I think he wants to take a fight, but he's unsure who he should be hitting right now. Going with that Necro Wagon army, looks like he's got to be moving towards Junkerz.
Yeah, I think he's gonna farm somebody now, or I would at least kill somebody now who's in a weak position if I was in his shoes, but I'm not sure what he's gonna do.
In fact, looks like DV's got the exact same thoughts.
I think, the killing Yellow now, or somebody who's easy to tome. I guess Yellow is the easiest because he's next to him.
Yeah, I almost wonder if, I mean, certainly taking out Yellow would be advantageous for DV, just so he can open up and protect one of his flanks, but taking out Junkerz, I mean, he's got a pretty good army combination for going into an orc base.
Yeah, he could do that too with Necro Wagon, I'm pretty sure. So I think that would be the best scenario for him, but he's hesitating a bit, and staying on 80, not that good, so he's gonna move in soon, I guess.
Yeah, I don't love the staying at 80, but I can understand that he may want to see who wins this fight and then take out the winner of the fight, but looks like he's losing his patience and wants to go ahead and get involved in a fight, and, you know, in such a map with few creeps to support.
Both on, actually, yeah. But it would be better if he takes 1 versus 1, of course.
Yep, and here we go. I bet he's going to make Junkerz TP, and then he's going to move on to Liltek, try and take Liltek out here. Nope, okay, he's going for Junkerz, so he thinks that the orc is a bigger threat and wants to see if he can't put some damage on that, or perhaps he's going to aimlessly wander around a little more.
It's probably also easier to get the experience from the orc because of the towers.
Yep.
But,
although these are a lot of Wyvern, that's doing a good damage.
Wyvern, and yeah, it's going to be a bit tough. Because there's a lot of Wyvern.
Yep, and so we can see Junkerz at 81, 74 for DV. Junkerz pretty low on gold, though. I mean, if he loses the fight badly here, he could be in a lot of trouble.
He doesn't have any dispel at all against the skeletons, so he's gonna lose all of his army. Yeah, I think that's pretty bad for Junkerz. And yeah, Ina looks pretty big on the map too. He's got 3 expansions going, so it looks good for him too. And maybe he can kill RulaZ at some point. The RulaZ is at 91 food, so...
Yeah, it's certainly a little bit of an uphill fight for Ina to go into RulaZ's army, but both of them have about, 1,600 gold for RulaZ, 3,000 for Ina. Ina's PC looking pretty low right off the bat there, going to force the TP away. Nice job by RulaZ, understanding that he could get him to fall.
His army against Ina, so like a really good composition against this.
It is, and that Alchemist is powerful up to level 5 now. Looks like RulaZ is going to continue pushing against Ina.
Interesting too that he picked the Alchemist first. I mean, I always miss the Archmage if I don't have mass TP as a human. But maybe he can make it work. It also means that he probably won't get teamed as much, although the Alchemist is also a reason for teaming, so I don't know.
Yeah, late game the Alchemist certainly is a reason to team, and we should talk a little bit about the interesting setup here after we see the fight between Junkerz and DV. Looks like Junkerz wants no part of this fight, but DV is trying to get it. There we go, and he is going for some of this Wyvern. DV desperately needs the experience here. In good position for everything except that.
Yeah. But he needs level 5 at least, I think. So he should press on.
Yep. 4-4-3, he's close to being in good position, and nice around here on the Tauren Chieftain. Stomp goes off, using the elements to his advantage. Tauren Chieftain has a potion of healing, but it does not have a TP. TP coming from the Shadow Hunter, though, and Junkerz does well to escape with what he can there. Just looking back, though, Junkerz did have his main fortress destroyed. He was forced to TP to his expansion, so he is in dire economic straits at the moment as well, and DV looks like he's going to continue trying to press him. And so we see a couple of the Wyvern go down there, Shaman goes down as well. DV is definitely in a position of strength right now, taking on the creep camp along the way because why not? And we're going to see an interesting convolution here of all 4 armies, Ema, Junkerz, DV, and RulaZ all within a very small distance of each other. We do see a TP back out on behalf of Junkerz. Oh no, sorry, Zeppelin, that's where they went, okay. And Little Tick looks like he's on the move as well, but banking at 50, trying to avoid fights. 4-2-1 heroes on his part, that's certainly going to be an issue later on. Continuing to push from DV here, trying to fully take out Junkerz, going for that expansion, and then the main base. I have a tough time seeing Junkerz survive this unless he gets help from somebody. What do you think?
Yeah, I think he's going to tap out soon unless he gets up, yeah. Definitely.
And so one of the interesting, nice job there by Lil Tick trying to get some extra experience. Ooh, and over trees, is that Zeppelin going to go down? Yes, it is. And we see there is another buyback on the Zeppelin. Zeppelin's going to go down again. And there it is. Lil Tick seeing if he can go ahead and get some experience out of this. His heroes are much lower level, though. Junkerz actually able to escape this pretty easily, except for the fact that he has the stun from falling out of the Zeppelin. Tauren Chieftain getting very low, and Junkerz going to give a GG and quit momentarily, I think. We'll see if he does it before all the experience goes to Lil Tick or not.
Yeah, also RulaZ took a convincing fight against Ina. It's not like Ina lost that much because he TP'd out, but he did lose his expansion, so it's a back and forth between those 2 guys.
And so, looks like we are momentarily going to be into a 4-way. Junkerz looks like he's just going to go and get the building kill, get observers. And so one of the interesting things about this tournament, this is Game 4 of Ugri's FFA Challenge. 36 players were invited to this. I believe Soso is a participant as well. We can talk about that in a moment and how he did. But there are 6 matches of 6, and each match is capped at an hour and a half long. So that means that after an hour and a half, the top remaining player, score-wise, will win the game regardless of what shape they're in. So there's a lot of incentive to change up the playstyle here. The match I cast previously did hit the ending score time. Probably could have gone on for another hour, hour and a half without that score. Benefited Great Wall, who pulled off the win there. But it's certainly a different type of strategy, and we'll get to Soso's match right after this fight. Looks like RulaZ can continue to push Ina here. Let's see, TP out for Ina. So Soso, you did play in an earlier match, right? How'd you do?
I think I didn't play the best. Like I hadn't prepared so much for the map, and but I did manage to get up like the second in score, fighting against Still. I don't know if you know Still, but he's currently playing he's an orc player and probably the best orc player playing at the moment. He's like
Yeah, I know him from the solo.
Player, and we haven't. Yeah, he's from the solo background. He played FFA for a short while in the community, but then he kind of stopped play and returned recently with Pad Ladder. So he's also doing really well on Pad Ladder, like one of the top. I think he's in top 5 at the moment. So really strong player. I did some mistakes because I haven't been practicing so much. But that's on my own.
Well, we're sorry that you weren't able to pull it off, but we're happy to have you here casting with us. Given we got a little bit of a lull, can you give us some insight into what having the timer in the game means to a player? Did yours go to the end, or did Still manage to win it before the timer went out?
It was a pretty fast game, and surprising to me, there wasn't so much chat, so I didn't really know when players were about to get killed. Normally, I expect like players like Quest and so to type whenever they're getting attacked or manip or so, but they didn't say so much. So I was kind of unaware how strong Still was getting because we fought initially 1-on-1, which was even, but then we kind of pieced and went to fight other players, and apparently he was farming a lot of experience with that. And also there's an aspect to the map as well, because on some maps you can get easily exposed, and other maps you're kind of vulnerable because they're closer to the opponent's main base. In that aspect, I wasn't so lucky. But
and so
he played really well, so I can't say that he didn't deserve it. He played really well. So.
In the meantime, Ina has just had a strong fight against RulaZ.
Yeah. I think RulaZ is in a very tough spot now. He only got 1 mine, and DV is basically farming little ticks. So I'm thinking this could be a very fast game, like the game I had, where DV is gonna take this. And if you didn't know, DV played actually the game before, the 6 o'clock European time match, but he desynced on Back to Warcraft stream. So perhaps they gave him a shot to play another game, I guess.
I think that's what happened, yeah, because Insup didn't show up for this game, and so DV was the replacement player for him. DV seems to be like he is in great shape right now. I mean, the fact that he has 11,000 gold, he's essentially just homing Little Tick, and both Ina and RulaZ are not at all interested in fighting him. I mean, I think as long as DV keeps Little Tick in the game, essentially, and just kind of tomes him while they're fighting it out, they're not going to peace. And so he's, he seems like it's in his position to lose.
It's kind of chaotic game, to be honest. Like some FFA games, we expect players to chat more or stop in peace and let's scout and that kind of thing. But this hasn't happened this game at all, and also it's been pretty chaotic. Like the middle players have kind of got destroyed, whereas the ones on in the 2 sides have been left alone, kind of like RulaZ and DV. But DV took better advantage of it, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, DV was really completely untouched for that early part of the game we saw. That was, I think, a big advantage for him because he wasn't skirmishing over expansions or anything like that. He was allowed to take one of the middle ones with pretty much no repercussions to it, and now we see that DV is just gaining experience from killing off heroes as well. We talked earlier about how he needed to hit level 5. Well, he's certainly done that with 5/5/4 heroes. And while Ina does have slightly better heroes at the moment, I think RulaZ is in position to last a little bit longer than Little Tick is going to, although both of them are in dire straits.
Do you think Ina has a shot against DV? Because DV's up at 12k gold right now.
I don't think he has a shot
think
in
it's gonna be
1v1
tough.
now. But
Yeah.
I think if Little Tick quits and goes out of the game, which I don't know what type of player he is, and let's actually talk about this fight where RulaZ is about to lose this Alchemist, and that is big. Ina goes ahead and takes out the lead hero right there, and already we were waiting for that Paladin to come back. Mountain King is the only remaining hero for RulaZ right now. He is certainly in dire straits. We see Little Tick running around trying to get out of DV's way and escape from him. But no, in a 1v1 fight, I think Ina probably thinks he can take DV right now, but I've not seen particularly great scouting from any of the players, to be honest. And so I think that he's going to severely underestimate just how much gold that DV has. I mean, in my mind, I bet Ina thinks if he's at 3,500, maybe DV's at 6,000, 7,000, but I don't think he's thinking, 12,000, 13,000.
Kind of surprised at DV stuff, but
yeah,
because that kind of means that the other players might stop too. So
yeah, I think DV realizes that RulaZ and Ina may piece if he takes Little Tick out of the game, and he's trying to downplay just how much of a position of strength he's in.
Of course,
And so I think he knows he can take, he can take Little Tick out at any time that he wants to. So the moment
also to see that Ina and RulaZ are kind of fighting to the end.
Although I don't know Ina that well, RulaZ it seems like would be willing to piece. I don't think that would be the case, but I think Ina's should be feeling pretty confident about his heroes with 654. He's taken out RulaZ without too much hope. And oh, actually, DV going for Ina now. He is mixing up early. I do not like this strategy.
I think DV is not aware of how ahead he is, so that's why he's hitting Ina at this point.
Yeah, I think you're completely correct.
You can see that Ina has got a lot of expansions up, but he doesn't have the amount of gold that DV has. So that means that Little Tick and RulaZ are still in the game, although they're pretty battered up, so it would be hard for them to get a shot at this.
Here we go. We might have our first 1v1 fight, and not great positioning for DV, actually, but those are a lot of very low wyverns right there. Ina will go ahead and TP out. Does take down one of the meat wagons in the meantime, and quick gold check shows us that DV is currently at 11,000, 92 of 100. Little Tick's at 31 of 48 with 2,000. We see RulaZ is at 260 gold, 38 of 54, and really a pretty decimated base. And Ina going ahead and being engaged again by DV. We'll see if he TP's in here. I think that DV would certainly like to have that Death Knight up to level 5 right now and may be able to get most of it from the towers. Yep, we see him pulling back the other heroes. I don't know how much of that is just cautiousness versus him trying to get the experience, but if he gets DK up to level 5, that'll certainly open up some new possibilities as well. Ina does appear to be aware that DV probably has a lot of gold, though.
Yeah, he may be. I did see he had so many wards placed, but if he had, he must know that the DV didn't have an opponent at the start of the game. But I'm not sure that he's aware of that.
Yeah, it's always hard to tell how much of that asking about 20k is bluster versus actually having an idea of how much it might be.
I also try to kind of keep aware of how fights were going in my game, but with 6 players it's so much harder than just 4 players. So
yeah, well, and I mean, we are only 30 minutes into this game right now. It's moved on very quickly, but it is worth noting we are under the 1 hour mark. If this game is going to be one that goes late, then it's never too early to start thinking about that aspect. But as it stands right now, it seems like either DV or Ina could be in good position to win this game outright before it's called.
Yeah, no, and the map is also like there's not a lot of gold in, so it's very hard for red and yellow to make a comeback at this stage. Like there's no way they're gonna be allowed to get the mines in the middle, I think, because DV and Ina is gonna fight about those, but.
Yeah, so let's look from... Ooh, Ina is going to attack Little Tick, it looks like. Nope, okay, he's just scouting him out, seeing if where DV's at.
Yeah,
although he should know since DV's in space.
Yeah. Eevee could kill his base now, but I think Ina's gonna try force him to TP.
Yep, and I think DV's got a TP here. I mean, having the level 6 ultimate of the Farseer. Oh no, it's going to be Ina that's forced to TP here. Okay.
Yeah, DV's got plenty of bases. I mean, necropolises, so he can stay.
Yep, and I like that decision on where Ina decided to TP in right there. But see a couple bats coming in. We need to see if that Tauren Chieftain or the Farseer are able to do some AoE damage to the Necromancers. They are all grouped up over there.
It's really tough.
Yep.
I think Ina's gonna lose everything there.
It certainly looks that way. We do see the TC at least went to level 6, so if it goes down, that's not a huge deal. Ina is currently at 70 of 100, but a lot of that is just production coming out of these bestiaries. He's training Kodos right now, and that Infernal is doing a lot of damage to Ina. We did see the Tinker go down earlier, but now the Dreadlord obviously level 6. Death Knight halfway to level 6. DV is in great position right now to try and take out as much of Ina's army as he's able to. These Wind Riders about to go down momentarily. We see Dreadlord getting very low, but does get a Death Coil in the nick of time. Mispositioned Meat Wagon here, but DV is doing a lot of damage to his base. Look at the skeletons kind of taking everything out. Do you see the Frostworm go down there? Ina not able to do much, though, besides kind of escape to the side of his base.
Yeah. He just got caught off guard, I think, with the Necro Wagon and the Dreadlord. It's just too much for him with the Ribbon play. He's just kind of too squishy against this.
Yep, and
he can't maneuver around, and now he's kind of stuck in the back of his base, so he can't really go for base lane or anything like that.
And unfortunately,
heroes, but I don't think that's gonna work.
Yeah, he did too good a job of taking out RulaZ early on, so RulaZ really doesn't have anything to help him out with. Little Tick seems not inclined to do anything about it as well. Maybe take out one of the Expos, but that's not going to force DV to TP. So DV seems pretty happy to go ahead and take out as much as he can right now.
Yeah, and that's sometimes I think an experienced FFA player would know that pause sometimes and just scout in those kind of situations, but I wouldn't say that it's something I can fall Ina on. I did that myself in the game I played.
No, certainly. So, I mean, he scouted the people near him fairly well, and he was able to take out Target. He took out RulaZ pretty much. Ina certainly didn't play badly, but it just goes to show, especially in such a small map like this, getting caught off guard one time can really do you in. Ina does have enough to rebuild. He's got 5,000 gold and 2,700 wood, but he does not appear inclined to do so currently. I'm looking at some of his expansions, and I don't see any rebuilding going on at the moment.
Yeah.
We'll see what that strategy is on his part.
For them. I think if they want a shot, they have to go all in on DB. And maybe it might bite DB that he didn't kill all of them, but seems like Little Tick is just playing to his own benefit at the moment.
Yeah, I can't say I super understand Little Tick's motivation right now. I mean, I get that you want to rebuild and put up some expos, and being ignored is okay, but DV is not going to have any trouble taking him out.
World, right? Yeah.
We do see RulaZ coming in here trying to help out. Those mortars are taking down some of the necropolises and other buildings at a good clip, but DV seems pretty content right now to try and take out the rest of Ina's expansions. This is certainly...
This is 3 versus 1, by the way.
Yep, and one of those scenarios where it could turn bad quickly. So how do you handle a 3v1 in a scenario like this if you're in DV shoes?
I always go for the players I can kill the fastest or weaken. If I weaken, for example, Red, I know he's not going to get his heroes back so easily, right? I try to... Well, since I have mass TP, it's pretty easy for me, but you always want to go against the weaker player, try to finish him off if possible. If that's not possible, you kind of have to make sure that they're not fighting together. So all the time, forcing them to take fights on their own.
And so how do you balance the issue of, say, Ina taking out your base right now while you want to take out somebody else? I mean, it's definitely a difficult position to do. Especially...
I think you have to play with Infernal and try to kill off the expansions at the same time as you're fighting against Ina, right? And also because he plays Necro Wagon, he's not that he's not easy to maneuver for DV, so he may even have to get stats on his heroes. But with this kind of army, he can shrek a base really fast, so I think he should try to do that. He's close to Little Tick, so he could kill off Little Tick, but obviously Ina is the bigger threat here, so I would probably try see if I could kill off Ina at this point. What do you think?
Yeah,
Little Tick can probably run away.
I mean, it's a difficult position to balance because, you know, Ina's just going to hide stuff all across the map while using his heroes to take your base, but he is certainly the one that's likely to do the most damage to DV's base with the level 7 Farseer, the 6 Tauren Chieftain, and that Shadow Hunter there, and oof, you have TP out.
Bang too, so you can keep buying TPs and do laning.
But yeah, I mean, I think that unless you can catch either RulaZ or Little Tick off guard, which is certainly possible as they continue to try and harass him, neither one of them is going to be able to do a ton of damage on their own. So I think you really kind of have to hunt Ina down and hope that you find all of his buildings in time. We do see DV making use of shades.
Also, Little Tick is not really committing, as you can see. He's just waiting in his base and killing Necropolis outside of the main of DV, so he's not committing fully to helping.
I mean, he's completely rebuilding up in the top right corner, so he seems pretty inclined to just let everybody else sort it out and hope he can come in with a kill at the end.
Yeah, at the end and win it somehow. Yeah, it's interesting. Now he's using his Invis heroes to harass DV.
Yep.
Kind of like that decision.
Which is, I think, what you've got to do. I mean, if you're in RulaZ or Little Tick's shoes, you got to try and make the most out of your heroes, make sure you don't lose your heroes, and maintain any army that you can and hope for a base race win at the end. Neither one of them has a particularly high odds, but...
This is all like DV's own fault for not finishing Little Tick.
Yep.
He could easily take the 2 versus 1.
And, you know...
Now Little Tick is gonna try to kill some stuff here at the DV's base, but I think maybe that's too many skeletons.
And we do see now the army split. I mean, he's kind of leaving the Necro Wagon aspect back in the base to defend it, and that Shadow Hunter getting very low. We do see there's a Potion of Vulnerability on the TC. Going to pop it off, but this still goes down, so it wasn't able to get it off in the nick of time. Losing the Shadow Hunter is going to be problematic for sure. And if you're in DV shoes, I mean, at this point, I think you just ignore the people hitting your base, and you try to finish off Ina, see if you can find whatever altar he may have, and prevent that Shadow Hunter from getting back here.
Yeah, it's really tough for DV. He needs to shut down all mining from all players, but that's not really possible. While at the same time defend his own base against 3 players. So yeah, he's gonna fight for his win, I think.
Yeah, he's certainly going to be tested.
If they can get the level 6 Archmage, they have a good shot at it. But it's still going to be hard. DV is at 6k gold, so I think DV still will win. But
yep, we do see that there is no TP here for any of the heroes that RulaZ has. Once he loses this Mountain King, that's going to be the end of that for RulaZ, as he only has 130 gold.
Okay, yeah. I think he could have done a bit better with rebuilding, seems like. But I don't know how much is in the middle mines at this point.
No, I completely agree, and I get why he built the mortars earlier on to try and take out some of DV's base, but I think that was a waste.
Just gathering wood right now, that's definitely a waste. Should be harvesting gold.
Mm-hmm.
At least long distance mining, I think.
And so we do see we've got another... Okay, so the Shadow Hunter just started rebuilding. It's still got a ways before it's going to be back out. And TP off here for the Farseer. We're going to see the expansion go down for Little Tick. DV definitely, I mean, maintaining his dominant position. Not in danger of losing his base by any means, but I don't feel like he's made any real progress yet towards taking out any of the players, except for maybe RulaZ, who he took out a hero of.
That was kind of RulaZ's own mistake.
Yeah, exactly. And RulaZ is going to be the hardest one to really take out of the game as well because he's cross-map. I mean, it would be much easier to hit Little Tick or Ina and take one of them out. We do see big Blizzard coming down in the middle of all of these Necromancers. Takes out at least one of them, possibly two of them here. So Little Tick getting some experience slowly by little bit, but also in danger of losing one of these heroes if he doesn't TP. Does go ahead and TP. We see Ina down at the bottom going ahead and using Earthquake, taking out some more buildings here. In comes the Tinker though. Goes ahead and stuns it. Nice job stopping it before any of the buildings actually died.
Yeah, maybe DV could actually send the Tinker out later on by himself to kill some buildings, but right now I like that he's just using his full force, like 3 heroes, to keep Ina away from the buildings.
Yeah.
And he hasn't lost that much, to be honest. He still has a full base, and yeah, looks very good for DV.
Yep, and I think, that's one of the most important abilities to have in a late game free-for-all is the ability and the comfort level to kind of split your army to protect your base and also go hunting for other things. So we can see now Tinker did force a TP out here by Ina. I'm not sure. I guess DV is not aware of where Ina has kind of rebuilt because that would seem like a pretty good place to go and attack. So he must not be aware.
Ina, though, so he's definitely in the bottom here of the map. Hunting Ina all the time, so he's going to shut down mining again, while I think Little Tick is wasting some time here. He should be helping more.
Yeah,
but it's easy to say because he doesn't have the map vision, so, and he's pretty low on his hero, so he can't really do that much. He's missing some tanks for sure. Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely, and I mean, the invisible hero stuff is, it's good for getting into the middle of DV space, but Little Tick seems more interested in just kind of wandering around the map and doing whatever he feels like at the moment. RulaZ is continuing to put in a good effort. I mean, I think he's doing all that he can aside from not losing his heroes, which is a relatively important part of that plan.
Yeah, he's also long distance mining, finally.
Yep.
But it's going to take a while for him to go for the third hero and expansion.
And again, we see the continuous game of cat and mouse. We do have a sleep go off. Not sure he's going to be able to get us around on the Tauren Chieftain or if he'd even want to. And the Shadowhunter does get low there. DV should know now that there is another full base that Ina has somewhere because of the fact that the Shadowhunter showed back up. And we'll see if he's able to take out one of Little Tick's heroes here. They do all have TP, so they can get out of there without too much trouble. Tinker doing a nice job splitting off here and taking out one of the expansions as well. Kind of as you were referring to earlier, the Tinker's just such a great tool for a base race. Although I'm surprised he's not using Pocket Factory to help take some stuff down quicker.
Yeah. He's probably busy with microing everything at the same time. But
yeah, DV's micro is certainly coming into play.
Little Tick on the map, so Little Tick is just going to be a while before he can get out and harass DV again. And yeah, he's being too slow. I don't think Little Tick knows exactly how much he needs to help Ina at this point. But
yep, I think he presumes Ina's a little bit stronger.
Yeah.
Nice stomp there by Ina, allowing him to get away. It should be noted, Ina now has 3,000 gold, so he is slowly burning through it with these TPs. I mean, not that I think there's really anything else that he's capable of doing right now. Better than having his heroes die for sure.
He's a fortified place in the bottom place of the map, but he's soon running out of bases. Although he does have a Great Hall in the top right of the map, so he can potentially rebuild there. But it's going to cost him for sure.
A player's forces are under attack.
I kind of like that he's fortified himself down there in the bottom, to be honest. I think that's good because it will take some more effort for DV to finish him off.
Yeah, but it'll at least buy him some time and allow RulaZ and Little Tick to hit his base, try and force DV to TP away.
Actually, I think they should be going like all together if they want to have a chance.
Yeah,
even then it's going to be really hard.
I mean, yeah, even 3v1, I don't think they can take him in a fight straight up.
No. They might be lucky and get a hero kill on the Death Knight.
We do see it looks like DV is moving with a larger army. Should be note he's capped at 90 for his maximum army now. I presume
Okay,
that
does he have an acolyte?
I don't think so. I think he turned them all into shades.
Oh, he does have them there.
Does he?
Attacking along with his army. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep, there's a couple there. So he needs to rebuild a couple of necropolises or ziggurats just to open up the expansion. There we go. We do see the ziggurat going up as we speak. Interestingly enough, though, that, looking around, nobody's hitting anybody at this point, and we are 50 minutes into the game with only 40 left. It's certainly, we're far from being at the point of it being rushed, but if they don't take DV out, I mean, he has a timer for when he's just going to win by score.
Yeah. 40 minutes, though.
Yeah, long time for sure. Really worried that RulaZ is going to lose another hero here.
Yeah. He's not that careful. I mean, he's walking around by himself, and yeah.
Yep, and
Perhaps
sleep
not
is
as
going to go off.
experienced as Liltek is in these kind of scenarios. I see Liltek plays this kind of play style all the time.
Yeah, I think RulaZ has the right idea, but the wrong implementation. Down goes the Paladin, so that's, we had almost gotten to the point where RulaZ was going to have all three of his heroes back due to the long-distance mining, but that's clearly not to be.
Yeah,
Ina does have another mine up.
Distance mining anymore. But yeah, I think what you need to do in this kind of situation is communicate all the time. Let's say where going to go and meet up and stuff like this. And I'm not really seeing it. I'm just seeing go on DV. So
yep, I think
it's not the best coordinated teaming. Sure.
Ina was trying it for a little bit, and then he got distracted by the fact that DV kept killing all of his stuff.
Yeah.
And I mean, we talked about it already, but it seems really weird to me just how passively Littletik is playing. He does have some good ideas going right now, like this long-distance mining with the Zeppelin, but that's not going to get him all that much gold, and he certainly doesn't have the ability to win on his own right now.
Yeah, I would say that maybe Littletik should have taken the lead in terms of coordinating the teaming, since he has the most time to do so.
Yep.
Basically because he's not doing that much, but yeah.
So interestingly enough, it does appear that Ina and DV are piecing right now.
Imagine if RulaZ had gotten his Alchemist to level 6. If he could do that, he could get his heroes back potentially.
Yep, and
he's also building a base in the top right.
Yep, in the forest.
Yeah. I don't think it's gonna do a whole lot, to be honest.
Yeah, I can't see it doing much either. And there we go. We're gonna see the Paladin forced to TP away here. It does so indeed. I'm not really sure how Ina managed to convince DV to peace, but Ina's mining from 2 mines right now. He has slowly fortified and rebuilt this bottom left base. He's doing a nice job of keeping himself alive in what I thought was a pretty hopeless situation.
Yeah.
Be interesting to see just how much he's able to redo and rebuild. I mean, there's only so much in these mines. He's got 3,600 from that, 3,800 from that, so he could theoretically mine another 7,000. I don't think DV will let him do that. But he's going to get a few thousand.
The downside is, though, that he's taking away gold from Littletik and RulaZ. So RulaZ can't get his heroes back if he's mining those.
Yep.
I don't know how much is in the top middle gold mine, but
I'd guess it's probably similar. DV was mining that pretty early on, but I think there's probably around 3,000 in it.
Yeah.
And then
I'm surprised nobody's trying to take that.
I am too. I guess that DV probably knows he's at 100 and doesn't want to be viewed as, overstepping by getting that expansion. But it's surprising to see both Littletik and RulaZ are not trying to do something with it. I mean, RulaZ was doing some long-distance mining for a while, but seems to have stopped doing that.
Yeah, I only see, he has some 2 peasants maybe. Yeah, so it looks very dire for him.
Oh, interesting. RulaZ is going for resource score right now up in the top right.
Yeah, he's banking 20k wood, so... with 3 shredders.
And so, as we mentioned earlier, if this game goes for another 36 minutes and 12 seconds, then it will automatically end due to the timer. And at that point, the person that is still remaining in the game with the top score will win the game. Clearly, at this point, it seems like it's probably going to be DV, but RulaZ here is trying to do is bank enough resources that it would push him over the top score-wise. He certainly doesn't seem like he's going to be able to do it from either heroes or buildings. I cannot imagine how much lumber he would need to mine in order to get the top score. But it's
You would have to mine the whole forest, maybe.
it's a strategy.
Yeah. There's 4K in that gold mine, by the way.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that they're just all kind of content to see how this plays out for the next couple of minutes. But by the time we get down to 20 minutes, I think they're going to need to do stuff.
Too, because maybe they don't know how much wood matters in terms of score. Because in all other aspects, DV's ahead, right? Yeah, so Ina needs to make something happen, sure. Little Tick too.
And it's interesting, I mean, Little Tick could be doing the same thing up in the top right with the wood, but he's not. He's just kind of rebuilding an army right now, it looks like.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the plan for Little Tick is. I don't know.
Yeah, so let's kind of run through each of the players since we got the time. You're a very experienced player, even if it's not with every race, but we'll start with DV, who's clearly in the lead right now. Do you think he's making the right call, just kind of letting time die out, knowing that he's going to win, or what would you be doing in his shoes?
I would probably try finish Ina, or at least not let him mine. I think that's it's something that could bite him in the end. I think he was way ahead before, but now Ina has 5k gold, so I think he's not doing something that's advantageous to himself, but he's gonna try wait until the timer runs out. So, what do you think? Do you think it's gonna increase his chances just to sit right now?
I think so. I don't imagine that he is going to sit the entire time, but if I was in DV's shoes, I would be worried about getting completely teamed out of the game and just building killed. I think that's really the only way to deal with him at the moment. Nobody's going to be able to take his army in a straight fight, but obviously one of the weaker aspects of Undead is that it suffers in base races pretty greatly, and we have not seen the truly coordinated teaming from all the players that we sometimes do see. But the possibility always exists. So if I was in DV's shoes, I think kind of waiting around right now and seeing how this shakes out is probably the best option, but I'd also be very actively scouting if I were him. And I still don't think he's discovered Ina's base in the bottom left.
Yeah, I wouldn't let Ina mine so much because Ina right now can go to 100 food. So that's a pretty big risk in terms of 3v versus 1 teaming. I think they could take him down then. But maybe he feels confident he can take on the teaming.
Yeah, I mean, he has done a good job of it so far. I suppose that's really the only way that we'll figure it out is when it actually happens, if he can take that 3v1.
Because Ina's right now building up, so he can go to 100.
Yep, and I think, I think I feel the best about the way Ina's playing it right now, to be honest. He's mining from 2 mines at 50. He's got pretty good heroes. I still don't think he's the favorite by any means, but I think he's playing this really well.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this benefits Ina the most.
And
not
so now
about this RulaZ strategy for 4 shredders. Maybe that may have an impact on the game. I don't know.
Yeah, so, if you were in Little Tick and RulaZ's shoes, I feel like we can kind of just lump them together. What do you do here?
Yeah, Little Tick is in a very rough spot. I don't see how he's gonna win. I mean, if the timer runs out, he's gonna lose. So he's gonna have to win, like kill all opponents somehow, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he does have a mine going right now, so maybe he can make an army at some point.
Yeah, and he's got.
but that's the only shot he got.
I think he'll have enough to be able to get one army. He's gonna have to make it count for a base race. I mean, I agree. That's really the only thing he can do. But
So he should actually try to get them to attack each other
Players'
Yeah.
and hope that he can win in the end.
no, if you're in his
I think
shoes,
that's
I
his
mean,
best shot.
I certainly
Yeah.
get that you just want to survive for every little bit that you can, but he needs them all to start weakening each other badly.
Yeah, because he doesn't have a chance against anyone except RulaZ.
And if you're in RulaZ's shoes, what are you doing there? You can't even keep your heroes alive at this point. You've got no gold. You can't revive everybody. You do have a lot of wood. I can see that strategy, cheap as it may be. But, what's your thought process here?
Yeah, I'm not sure what he can do. I think probably he's doing the most optimal thing he can do, but aside from that, maybe a strategy would be to team up with somebody to get level 6 alchemist and try transmute away
Mm-hmm.
to get some extra experience.
Yeah, I certainly
Potentially
think,
the other heroes back.
speaking of, again, needing everybody else to be fighting, that's certainly true for him as well. He needs that alchemist to be 6, you're right. That could open up some new opportunities for him if that does become the case. But at least with Little Tick's case, he's currently actively mining, so you can kind of understand why he doesn't want to rock the boat. RulaZ is just sitting around and, gathering wood, but that's not going to help him actually win any fights, bring back an army, or revive his heroes or anything.
Yeah.
And we do see Ina is about to finish off his last mine. Here we go. He's going for DV's bank. Ina, again, I think played that perfectly. We'll see how these fights go and if he can get everybody to hit hit DV, or if it's just going to be a 1v1, which would be worse for him. But the moment he was done with mining out this mines, he's instantly back at DV. Good move.
Yeah, maybe DB didn't know that he could actually take on the team in the 3 versus 1.
A player's force
At least I think so, because he wasn't aware of what RulaZ and Little Tick were doing and how much gold they have. But right now, he's in the situation that Ina's got way more gold than himself.
Yep. By the time Ina gets up to 100 food army, he'll probably be down to 3,000 gold, I'd say. Depending on how he composes it. So it's really probably 3,000 gold versus 2,000 gold if we want to call it, an apples-to-apples comparison. But he's looking much better than he was before, although it looks like both Yellow and RulaZ are kind of resistant to re-engaging with DV and helping out. So this could be a good opportunity for DV to fight Ina straight up, take out that base if he finds it, and really do some damage.
Yeah.
Oof, that Shadow Hunter is really low. Is it going to go down? It does!
Yeah. I'm not sure that Ina can actually make an army that can beat DVs. I think this army is really good against the Orc.
Interesting.
Maybe if he catches him off guard or something like that and kills off the Necros in a bad position, then he can snipe them.
Yep. Free-for-all really does bring out all sorts of different avenues, and it's interesting here. We see DV is just feeding skeletons to RulaZ to allow RulaZ to get up to level 6 on the Alchemist in the hopes that RulaZ will help him against Ina and use Transmute against Ina.
That seems like a very risky strategy, to be honest.
It does.
What do you think? Yeah.
I think
you shouldn't trust anyone in FFA. That's the first rule, right?
Yeah.
Everybody speaks to their own advantage, or you should assume so.
And DV realizing, maybe that isn't a great idea because that transmute can be used against me.
I'm gonna run away, but you already gave it's close to 80%, 90%.
Yep.
P. Oh, that must be tempting for Little Tick just to pull that. But he's not going for it.
Yeah, impulse control is important in free-for-all.
Yeah. If it was me, I would have my hand on that trigger. But the Little Tick is a smart and patient player, so he doesn't do those things.
Yep, and so what do you think about the fact that, I mean, DV killed off the Shadow Hunter, but he's not pushing. He has the opportunity to really press Ina right now, but I guess he's worried about having his army killed off. He knows that it's really his last true 100 food army. Do you
Yeah.
think he's just resistant to pushing for that reason right now? Do you think he's worried about his base? It seems odd to me that he didn't take that opportunity to try and do more damage.
I think he was worried about teaming, the potentially losing to way too much teaming. That's why he stayed in his base and now wait for the timer to make the win for him. But essentially, I think it was the wrong choice, but he didn't have all the information, so he could know that he could actually finish off Ina, I think. So
Yep,
yes,
and
it's going to be a bit tough for him because I would say that the other players need to team up eventually to make sure that he doesn't win. So when the timer is at 0.
yeah, I mean, we are now 26 minutes until then. Plenty of time in Warcraft. You know, most solo games don't even last that long, but in FFA terms, in an ordinary circumstance, we could be predicting that this is going to go on for another 2 or 3 hours. So that timer really is going to change the thought process in the game. You know, I think we are getting to the point where DV may just be running down the clock.
Yeah, and I'm not sure who's going to win when the timer is off. I'm guessing DV, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think it will
Do
be
you have any
DV,
thoughts
but
on that? Because I haven't played so many timer games. So.
yeah, it's something you never really pay a whole lot of attention to, and we see here all of Little Tick and RulaZ trying to get some extra experience. RulaZ is getting really close to level 6 on that Alchemist. 2 more skeletons will do it for him.
Yeah, that's pretty good for him.
Yeah, no, I mean,
Maybe
I think...
we could make a trade-off, like say, if can I kill one person, please? I will not go against you the next 25 minutes, I promise.
Yep, I'm surprised that RulaZ has not asked Little Tick if he has an extra peasant to kill off somewhere.
Okay.
That mine
He's
only
asking
has...
for a wolf.
There we go, yep.
A player's forces are under attack.
Yeah, nobody really thinks it's a great idea to give Alchemist level 6 to RulaZ.
Yeah, it's gonna be a costly decision.
Yep, there we go. All right,
Ina's
Ina's
gonna
going to do it.
Is under siege.
He wants the help, and yeah. So
All
now
right.
he can go sell some worms.
Yep. And we can see at least we've got a hidden Alkalite in the backwoods over here for DV. He's ready to put up an emergency necropolis if need be. But he seems I don't know. I mean, I get what he's doing here, but if I was in his shoes, I'd be getting real anxious about the fact that they continually talk about teaming him, and he's got to know that it's coming at some point.
Yeah. At least for Ina's perspective, he really wants to kill DV.
Yep, and Ina going ahead and pushing here. I mean, if Ina can take DV out of the game, I think he's pretty clearly going to win on score as the next person, unless I'm way underestimating how much the wood is going to count for RulaZ. He is up to 35,000 wood right now. So I do not profess to know a whole lot about the scoring system. I predicted correctly last time that Great Wall was going to win on the score, so I'm taking credit for that. Hopefully I can make it 2 for 2 on prediction score-wise.
Okay, yeah.
But here we go. I mean, yeah, Ina, understandably a little afraid to commit into the base right now. Wouldn't want to do that against 100 food undead that's completely buffed up. Probably a smart move on his part.
Kill off some peons too to get some more army or a shredder more.
Mm-hmm.
Because yeah, he's got at least 10 peons there, I think.
Alright, well, we are completely out of gold except for the bottom mine, which actually, do you know how much this bottom mine has in it?
No, I don't know. I think it's very low.
I think so too. I wanted to say it was like 200 or 300 maybe.
Yeah, maybe insignificant. But not for RulaZ, he can still mine it.
I mean, any gold is good for RulaZ right now. He's up to 305. I'm surprised he hasn't revived one of his heroes yet.
Yeah. He's walking around with the alchemist. He doesn't want to piss anyone off. I understand that.
Yep, if he takes away a valuable unit from either of these players, that's probably going to really piss him off.
Yeah.
But Little Tick
And he's not
acknowledging we
gonna
got
get away with
23
it,
minutes
okay.
left.
So he's just waiting for somebody to engage and then sell a
The
unit
player's forces are under
in the
attack.
chaotic battle.
It's interesting. I mean, I can't really blame any of them for what they're doing, but I wouldn't have guessed that there could be 4 players left in a game with 23 minutes on the clock, and what we'd have is them just sitting around and talking.
Yeah. The little tick is basically saying, I'm not gonna interfere. I'm just gonna wait and see you two fight each other off, Ina and DV. And that's what he did before too. So taking that passive kind of position in the game.
There we go. We do see some frost worms being hidden in the top left corner. Clearly, DV's a little worried about them being transmuted, although he's still keeping 2 in his army with him. I'm unsure why he's only hiding 2 of them right now, unless he is worried about losing this fight, which is understandable. It does look like Ina is getting ready to attack from the top. Going to see the wolves come in. Surprised we're not seeing any earthquake go on. And maybe they're actually going to have a legitimate straight-up fight outside of the base. It seems unlikely, but they are talking about it.
Yeah, it would be way better for Ina to fight in the open, I think.
And there we go. Earthquake going off, taking out some of the buildings, and this should force DV into a fight here. Farseer backs up pretty quickly. Nice scout with the Feral Wolf there. Little Tick and RulaZ continuing to not do a whole lot, although that Alchemist is nearby, ready to transmute at a moment's notice. And RulaZ just on his wood count is up to about 40,000 wood right now.
I'm not sure why Little Tick though is staying out of the fight.
I don't understand
He
either.
has to make something happen, right?
I'm not sure why he
Otherwise
attacked
has to
Ina's burrow either. He's attacking
No.
Ina for sure.
He's just being very annoying, and I think it's unnecessary.
Yeah, I mean, it seemed pretty safe in his position to try and team out DV. I mean, this is going to be the biggest gift to DV that he can get if Ina takes out Little Tick.
Yeah, I think maybe he's not aware that DV is the strongest.
Maybe so.
At least I think so. I think Ina's got a good army too. But
Yeah, I think there's
if he had
certainly...
got him on the level 6, it would be way better for him. But still, I think DV's got the better army.
I would agree, but it's no longer a... I do not think at this point if all 3 were actively teaming DV, DV could take them on the way he was earlier.
No way.
A player's forces are under attack.
But, I mean...
I think they're confused as to who is winning too.
Yep, I think they certainly are, and, you know, perhaps DV's strategy of just waiting around is paying off more than either one of us thought it would, since apparently Little Tick and Ina are going to fight it out.
Yeah.
I suspect they'll come around and figure it out and team down DV, but again, every minute counts as we cross under the 20-minute threshold, and DV would like them to know that Orc is still capable of beating Undead in a straight-up fight. And there it comes, transmute on one of the Tauren. I bet that Ina noticed that one.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah,
not, though. He's not
really
called him out,
did.
actually. Did he say that... No, I don't see Ino saying that he was welcome to transmute the Tauren, and that seems like one of those things that Ino would absolutely be complaining about right now if he noticed, so that might have been a pretty smooth move on RulaZ's part, if very risky.
Yeah, he was searching for the alchemist, but
A
he
player's
didn't find
forces
it.
are under attack.
We see that Little Tick is going to gain a little more experience from all of the skeletons over here.
Yeah. Maybe he was trying to kill skeletons earlier just to get some units killed.
Yeah,
Be a
that
possibility.
definitely could be. I mean, Little Tick is not too far away from getting level 6 on his Archmage as well, and in something that could come down to hiding in a base race, Mass TP is certainly pretty helpful.
Yeah. I think it's the best skill in the game in FFA. But it's debatable.
A
It's
player's
pretty good.
forces are under
Yeah.
Transmute is also really good, and yeah, there are plenty of good skills.
It looks like Little Tick is... I can't tell yet if they're actively going to Team DV. They seem a little wishy-washy about this, to be honest.
Yeah, true. I think they're just gonna sit and watch and see how the fight goes and then decide.
Yep, I think that's probably what I would do in their situation as well, but we do have a fight coming in here at last, and it looks like Ina is attacking...
Really annoying.
Yep,
Yeah.
Ina's attacking
He's
Little Tick,
distracting
splitting
Ina,
off.
and Ina's gonna take the fall for it.
And
I
that
think
one...
that was something I would be really mad about.
Yep,
if I was
no,
in their shoes.
that could seal the deal there. I mean, that was a significant amount of food that Ina just lost in that fight, and I could understand RulaZ and Little Tick not engaging at all and just seeing what happens when the two of them fight, but attacking Ina seems like a not very well thought out move.
Yeah.
Because certainly RulaZ and Little Tick are going to be unable to take DV 2v1 on there, and they need Ina sticking around here. And yeah, it's always easier to say this from the perspective of an observer, and the Alchemist is going to go down.
Oh man. And he's not gonna get it back.
Nope, that is...
Oh, he does the worm? Oh, that's so good. Then he can get it back.
Yeah, he can actually buy it back. It's going to take a while.
Yeah, so he can get both of those. That's really cool.
I don't know, if I'm in DV's position, I think I still want to push Ina a little bit.
Yeah, I wouldn't be aggressive at all if I was Ina.
There we go, we're going to see...
He kind of needs to have something going because he can't win versus DV in score, but he has no chance to fight him, so... He needs to manip the others to fight DV.
Yeah, if you're in Ina's shoes, all you can do right now is try to convince them that, you know, they're not going to win the game with DV still in it for sure, so you need to take him out, and, you know, it would suck to see from DV's perspective and from the perspective of seeing the best player taken out, but just a truly coordinated 3v1 teaming of taking out DV is the only way that anybody else in this game stands a chance, I think. Unless, again, the resource abuse of RulaZ is even stronger than I realized.
Yeah. We should send some shredders down to the bottom lumber mine here, I think.
Yep.
Or make another island, kind of.
A player's force is
Because they're long distance harvesting.
Okay, and so Ina is attacking Little Tick. Little Tick now is going to team with DV. Good stroke of luck here from DV. I mean, good players make their own luck a lot of time, but
yeah.
I can't see this going well for Ina.
Yeah. And I think it's a bad call by him, but I can understand that he's frustrated with Little Tick. So.
Yep, and RulaZ asking for a report as to who's ending up winning right now.
Yeah, it's definitely not Ina, but Ina does have a lot of powers, so you can hold him off for some time.
Yep, he can definitely hold it off with, there we go. TP comes in from Ina, and we see the Tinker go ahead and shoot his rockets into the middle. Towers are going down slowly.
He does have TP on all his heroes, so he's not gonna lose them, I would think, but does lose them on Archmage and the Mountain King too.
Yeah,
no
but
staff on the Mountain King for his lobby.
I didn't even notice that. Yeah, Little Tick had sent his heroes diving into the back of Ina's base. That was not a particularly smart move on his part. DV still at 84 right now, hasn't lost a unit in this fight. Does have to worry about having those meat wagons taken out by the wolves and income, the wind riders to try and dive and take out one of the heroes here. Tinker going in pretty strong here, not going to be able to be stopped from TPing out though. Really showing kind of some of the strength of the Tinker once he hits level 6 in terms of base racing. Be interesting to see if Little Tick is completely tilted at this point and going to hit Ina, or if he recognizes that Ina is probably not the strongest player right now.
I'm really surprised that Little Tick fell for DV's manip so easily.
Yep, I am too.
I don't know what his strategy is if he didn't, but it seems like he just was like accepting DV's assessment that or Undead can't beat Orc. Yeah, it's not the case. We've seen that DV has been winning all fights. So.
And if you're in Ina's position here, I mean, I understand the frustration, but he's not going to be able to take Little Tick out in any type of timely manner. Do you continue trying to hit Little Tick's buildings, or do you figure that's only going to make him double down that you're the strongest and, you know, he's going to continue attacking you, and instead try to hit DV because you know he's still the biggest threat?
Yeah, what Ina is doing right now is very is not rational. I think he's just going crazy. He needs
Is under siege.
to ask them to team against TV because and say that he has no gold and only 63 food, something like that. Uh,
Yep. Looks like,
he also trying to peace with Little Tick, so
and it does look like Little Tick has at least agreed to it. Not that there's a ton that Little Tick can do aside from, oh, cool, we're paused. For a minute I thought I was disconnecting. But yeah,
Yeah.
there's not a ton that Little Tick is able to do aside from harass some buildings with his gyrocopters.
yeah. And also he said the way he pieced is not like it's a bit annoying because he didn't actually piece. He said that he only has the paladin. He didn't say piece, so I think Ina is taking that as a no piece communication. So
Yep, I think
he's
you're
gonna
probably
go
correct.
kick Little Tick's buildings and then yeah.
I
I
mean,
think
so
it's hurting both of their chances, so it's bad.
yeah, I mean, it seems like DV essentially has this in the bag again, aside from resources, which I don't know how big a factor that plays.
Yeah, I hope DV wins. I think he deserved it the most.
Absolutely. No, DV has played very well, and I think both of us were a little surprised by his passiveness in, the mid game, but it's paying off well for him, and perhaps he just knows the players that were involved and knew it would shake out this way, or perhaps he's just trying to run down the clock. But regardless, his patience has certainly paid off.
Yeah, it seems like it was the right decision. I thought the other players would team up against him, but
Yeah, I'm
didn't
really
happen.
surprised we never saw just a coordinated teaming from the top and the bottom of the base, trying to take out the buildings and then trying to snipe heroes here and there. I mean, between 9 heroes, it seems like they could have taken out one of DV's heroes, although maybe not with how much stronger DV has been.
But it seems like RulaZ is understanding that something has to happen now. There's only 12 minutes, so. And I guess Little Tick is too. Does he get the heroes back? Did he get them? No, he's supply block, so he does only have the paladin. But he's gonna get them back eventually.
Yeah, I think they'll come back eventually, but it's going to take a little while.
Yeah.
And there we go. Yep, we do
DV is
see
scouting with the Tinker right now, so it's a
DV
good
recognizes the
opportunity to
lumber.
build some buildings. Yeah.
But he's not able to do anything else. He has to bring that Tinker back to the base in order to try and defend the attack here. We see Ina starting to push in with the Earthquake. And this could be the last kind of significant fight we see. If this goes well for DV, he's able to take out some of the Wyverns. He's kind of locked up the game with only 11 minutes left to go. And if any of the other players want to have a chance, this is their chance to try and take out all the buildings that they can.
Yeah, this is the only chance Ina's got is just to do this kind of laming style with Earthquake and kill the buildings while the other guys are harassing DV.
Yep.
Also with Transmute now, it's going to be very rough for DV, so.
Yeah, you can see, okay, he does have more of his army with him right now, but I fully expect to see Transmute abuse coming in left and right. It might be a question of just, what units is he sacrificing to Transmute.
Yeah, that was the theme going on.
Yep.
It's not the worst, but it's still like it's costly.
Yep, and it comes back pretty quickly.
Ina and DV. Ina trying to focus the DK, but the DK is not going to go down. That's too much.
Yeah, Shadowhunter is starting to look a little low. The Farseer is starting to look a little low. All the Wyvern are pretty low. Surprised that we're not seeing more healing waves come out. There comes one on the SH.
RulaZ was needed in the fight, and yeah, it's really bad by him. Now he's going to kill the Shredders by RulaZ. And I think, I'm not sure what the fuck he's doing.
Yeah, I mean, I understand he probably doesn't want somebody winning on the lumber abuse.
He does get some experience from it, and he has level 6 Archmage now, so.
But I'm not sure, how much that is just terrible game sense or what's going on. But when you're under 10 minutes left in the game, this does not seem like a particularly good time to do it. Okay, so he's just trying to prevent the resource abuse from winning him the game. I can respect that rationale at least.
Yeah.
Although he's not
kind
going to
of
be able to
late
take
for
out
that, though.
RulaZ.
Yeah. He's
Okay.
gonna be able to kill RulaZ just because he has the better hero combo. But
Yep.
it's gonna take some time while DV and Ina can fight each other. But DV is moving across the map and trying to help out Littletech, I think.
Yeah, I think there's been an agreement to go ahead and try and take out as much of RulaZ's base as they can, so he doesn't win on the technicality. Ina, it seems, is just kind of wandering around for now,
makes
wait for
a
that
lot
to
of
happen.
sense from DV's perspective.
Mm-hmm. And it does look like
RulaZ is gonna try to stay alive while Ina is gonna walk around a bit and maybe think about attacking DV while he's out.
yeah, it seems like Ina understands as well and isn't willing to push it. But I mean, if you're in DV's shoes, you also, as you're saying, want to drag this out as long as possible so that you get the piece for as long as possible.
Players' forces are under attack.
And actually,
this is really bad for RulaZ and Littletech.
yep. I mean, I have a hard time feeling sorry for RulaZ based on what he was trying to win on. I do feel bad for Ina and DV, though. Ina's going to go ahead and push just because he has to attack DV. He's got no other choice. DV is going to be forced to TP back, but that's going to leave RulaZ in the game. It's certainly not going to be an ideal situation for any of the players right now. Sleep does go off on that Tauren Chieftain, but it's got a potion of lesser invulnerability as well as its ultimate. DK does get hexed, but it's got a potion as well. No real trouble. We do see DV taking this fight without most of his army. There we go. We do see the army starting to come in. A lot of these Wyvern are very low and going to die to the Fiends, and Ina's army is just slowly going down one at a time. He's really got nothing to do damage with anymore, aside from his heroes. I mean, a couple Tauren left, but those are going to go down before too long as well, and he really hasn't even been able to put in a good effort at killing the Death Knight, although it does get hexed, pops back up, still got that potion of vulnerability, but, you know...
Heroes way too much.
Yep.
I think he has no chance of killing that
Players'
Death Knight.
forces are under attack.
And yeah, I think that pretty much locks it up for DV right now. We do see that Ina's got a pretty fortified base, but I don't think there's any real need for DV to try and take it out. And Littletech going ahead and just trying to finish off RulaZ right now, trying to prevent him from being able to get any more lumber. There we go. We see the flying machines coming in.
Maybe Littletech thinks he has a lot of lumber harvested too. I don't know. But it would be safe to assume that all players would have one shredder, right? So I don't think he's ahead in that aspect.
Yeah, I mean, we see RulaZ currently has 52,000 wood versus Ina's 10,000 or DV's 13,000, so I think it's probably safe to assume he's got an extra 35,000 lumber more than normal from what he was doing.
Maybe he's helping DV win, I don't know. I'm just kind of thinking about him because I don't understand the way he plays.
Tauren Chieftain does get low there, but not yet going down. Gonna be trapped though. I mean, I'm curious to see here if he pops the potion of vulnerability or he's going ahead and use Resurrection. Let's see if DV is able to pull off a surround on the Rebirth. And will he go ahead and sleep? Nope. Stomp goes off, not able to sleep. We do see that Littletech was able to take out the Alchemist and Mountain King of RulaZ. I'm not sure if that Zeppelin died over the trees or his heroes actually took them out. I'm guessing based on how quick it was that probably the Zeppelin died over the trees. And that was enough for...
Fortunate for RulaZ, yeah.
Yep, level 6 on the Alchemist right here. They are going invisible. Let's see if Littletech is going to go for DV's main while the flying machines take out RulaZ's base. It looks like that is going to be the case. We are now officially at 5 minutes remaining. I'm not sure if RulaZ has anything hidden around the map. He does. So he's got a peasant and 500 gold. So he's got enough to rebuild a town hall somewhere to continue hiding. It seems unlikely they're going to be able to completely eliminate him in time. Although Littletech here does perfectly time coming across a couple of peasants to prevent him from building anything more. And we can see the main fight with Ina and DV going on. Another couple of Wind Riders going down here to Web, gonna die to DV. Ina really, I mean, doing the right thing of trying to take out DV, but unable to be effective.
Yeah.
A town is under forces are under attack.
Okay, so Little Tick is hitting DV now. I don't understand.
I mean, I think Little Tick was just taking out the remainder of RulaZ's base. He understands that he's got to hit DV as well, because DV is the strongest player. We can see that the flying machines are still taking out RulaZ's base in the meantime. And, oof, there we go. Invulnerable on the Archmage, and we see the Mountain King getting very low, does pop that potion of invulnerability. Somebody's going to have to TP out here on behalf of Little Tick. He does have another potion, and the Dreadlord is getting so low, and just a Death Coil in the nick of time right there. TP coming on the Mountain King.
DV was baiting that.
Yep, it was, I mean, risky bait, though. That Dreadlord went low.
Yeah, true.
And in comes Ina, gonna see if he can take out anything else in the base. Expect we'll see another Earthquake here momentarily. A couple of low Spirit Towers over here that could go down to the Wolves as well, but DV is still just in a commanding position. If he's able to take out that Spirit Walker and Tauren, that'll pretty much leave Ina with nothing else, and we can see that he's got no gold at all right now. Does have a fortified base, and that won't get taken out, but not much that he's going to be able to do.
No. I think the only thing DV is missing is a worm just to catch him, but he still got sleep and rockets, so he's fine.
Yep, and at this point, I mean, we are officially at 3 minutes left to go. DV's just kind of got to bide his time and wait it out here. Does look like Little Tick has decided to bring in his flying machines. He's going to attack the worms. Worms are trying to run away. We'll see how successful they are. Doesn't look like they're going to be able to escape from the flying machines very successfully. Tauren Chieftain did get sleeped there. And we can see that the Shadow Hunter has about one more heal on it, but it does have a potion of vulnerability. Farseer has a potion of vulnerability as well. Can we get a surround off on the Shadow Hunter right now? Yes, we can, and pops potion of vulnerability under the surround. Meanwhile, in the base, we see that Little Tick going for Blizzard, trying to take out as much of it as he's able to. We see a couple of split armies here. Most of the army going back to his base to defend himself against Little Tick, but the heroes are diving after Ina in here. TP coming in to defend himself, and looks like Little Tick should be able to defend.
They're doing it, but I think it's too late. They only have 2 minutes.
Yep, this is what they need to be doing like 10 minutes ago.
Yeah.
And we do see that there's TP on the Paladin, TP on the Archmage, and a staff, so no huge urgency in taking down that Mountain King. Not much that he's able to do on the flying machines, which are taking down his remaining Necropolis. So if somehow they're able to take out the remainder of his buildings in 1:45. DV does not have anything hidden across the map, but that time limit just seems like it's not going to be enough for them to do it.
Yeah.
Sleep going off on the Farseer.
Stay alive for sure, so I guess he's going to win if he wins on squad.
I certainly hope so. I mean, it would be a tragedy to see that RulaZ takes it off the score, but I think DV still got it. His heroes are so much stronger. And down goes another Wind Rider. I get why Ina is pushing back here, but I feel like he honestly can't afford to do so. With only a minute left here, I think he's got to maintain pushing from one side or the other. He's opened up Little Tick to being vulnerable on the other side. It's truly an all-in situation for them, and they need to do everything they can to try and take out the base.
Yeah.
With that, we are down to 55 seconds.
A bit more, I think. But
here we go. It looks like DV is just going to chase, keep Little Tick off the top of his base. Skeletons are able to do that on their own. Coming in from the south here, we see Ina taking some stuff out, but he's planting a couple more Necropolises here at the end. Should be in fairly safe hands, and let's see if we're going to see any more hero kills before the end here. Ina pulling back. I mean, again, I get it, but that's not going to help him to win the game.
Yeah. I think Little Tick just... he did things way too late.
Yep. DV with the kind of prophetic ability to piece early on.
It's gonna end with the score.
Yep. We got 8 seconds left, and should be DV winning out this game. Big earthquake going on in the middle of the base, but that is about it. And
yeah, he wins.
Yep. My screen takes a little while to get to the final page.
It did matter a bit, though. He got the most in resource score, RulaZ, but it wasn't enough. Hero score was way too big for DV.
Yep, I think RulaZ knew how to abuse the system, but that's only going to make a difference if you're already in contention, which he wasn't. I mean, yeah. Although Ina actually was
Ina
pretty
was
close.
really close. Yeah, 10,000 points.
Um, yeah, and I mean, Ina had 15,000 more gold mined than DV. That really made a big difference.
Yeah. So the decisions to let him mine was maybe questionable, but they paid out in the end. Yeah,
Yep.
cool game.
No, that was a great game.
I'm not a big fan of the timer, but I understand we don't want 2-3 hours games. But
Yeah, having
I
a
enjoyed the
tournament with
programming.
no timer is difficult.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me on this, Soso. Any parting words, thoughts about the game that you want to say before we go ahead and call this a day?
No, just thanks for following and having interest in the FFA games, and hope to see you also for more casting on games.
Absolutely. I think it's safe to say now that I finally got OBS back downloaded on my computer, I'm coming back to cast a little bit more.